Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, we've got the Fury Warrior, we've got the Meat Blender, we've got the Proc Machine. Fury Warrior is getting some amazing set bonuses and synergies moving into patch 9.2 that could definitely put it onto the map, especially considering in PvP that Arms Warrior is receiving some pretty significant nerfs towards its defensive stance, which was the main thing that was holding back Fury Warrior, was that its defense is definitely not as good as Arms, but perhaps it will now be more comparable. But with no doubt, moving into patch 9.2, this spec is an absolute blast. I have just been pumping away at these training dummies, enjoying watching my screen light up as I roll insane lottery effects. So let's cover these set bonuses and legendary synergies that you can look to exploit to be able to decimate your enemies. So the 4-set and 2-set bonus of the Fury Warrior are going to be that Raging Blow deals 15% increased damage and gains an additional charge. And your 4-set is going to be that Raging Blow has a 20% chance to grant you Recklessness for 4 seconds. I've decided to go with the Venthyr Covenant, which will provide us with the Girdle of Unity, making Condemn extend the duration of Recklessness by 2 seconds, which will also include this procced Recklessness. I had some ideas that I wanted to test out with this proc Recklessness. For example, if the Signet of Ancient Kings would trigger an extra effect, but it doesn't. That would have been insane if it did. I was really hoping that it did, because it would be absolutely crazy to be able to just proc a Blade Storm or proc an Avatar or something like that while you're attacking your target from a procced Rec, but it doesn't. This legendary is still very good for burst damage, but with the preposition of this build, I've decided to make the Deathmaker, which is Rampage has a 30% chance to apply Siege Breaker to your target for 6 seconds, so 15% more damage to that target. This works with Whirlwind cleaving your Rampage onto multiple targets, so you can switch targets when you proc that thing with an AoE. Procking a Condemn, then allowing you to extend the duration of these proc recklessnesses, and also Raging Blow having some really good synergies with other talents, such as Cruelty, which means when you're enraged, your Raging Blow does more damage and has a chance to reset its cooldown. So focusing on stacking some of those damage modifiers is what I wanted to have in the importance of this build. It's important to have Reckless Abandon for PvP specifically, so that you can generate 50 more rage and get to an 8 stack of your Mortal Wounds effect from Slaughterhouse, which was given in 9.1, which is another way to allow you to somewhat compete with the Arms Warriors. I really enjoy Enduring Rage. It increases the duration of your Enrage effect by 1 second, and your Raging Blow will extend its duration, and having 3 charges of it now makes it really easy to keep your Enrage at a high level. I love Battle Trance for self-sustainability, self-healing, as well as rage generation. The goal is to just cap out your rage as much as possible and dump in massive Rampage hits that are going to be proccing these Siege Breakers, and then dumping Raging Blows to increase the duration of that Enrage effect to get to more Rampages, to proc more Siege Breakers, to proc more Recklessness. So you're just going to be staying on target, an absolute meat blender, and I can kind of show you what that looks like. So as you charge the target, you can use Whirlwind to prime yourself up, start getting some Raging Blows with the Whirlwinds to try and get a proc. We get a proc right off the bat. We can extend that proc with Condemn a little bit, keep our Enrage rolling with the Extend, keep Whirlwinding the Rampages to keep procking, and then just focus on generating Rage. In PvP, you'd want to Whirlwind, Rampage, and then pop Recklessness to reset your Rage bar, Whirlwind, Rampage again. And you can see I've got Siege Breaker procs across the board right now, this 15% increased damage to the target, and I can just keep hack and slashing away, keep spreading those Rampages, keep trying to utilize that Whirlwind to proc myself more Recklessnesses by having my Raging Blows cleaving onto different targets, and using my Condemn to cleave onto different targets, trying to generate as much rage as possible, swapping targets to wherever my Siege Breaker procs, and just continuously procking Rex, continuously procking Siege Breakers, and just getting an insane amount of sustained damage, very similar to that of the Havoc Demon Hunter for patch 9.1.5 that we saw when they were getting those demon procs from Fodder to the Flames in the Necrolord Covenant, which was the main thing that attracted this to me. And the fact that Arms Warrior had been recently reduced in strength was another reason that I wanted to give this a go. I was contemplating Sudden Death. Perhaps we should give this a run with Sudden Death, as I'm not even finding many opportunities to use Bloodthirst, because in PvP you're not going to always have the target in a Condemn range. So just giving this a go to see how many Condemn procs we can get, so that we can see if it's really worth it. But I just love that you're always proccing damage. Your sustained damage is always going to be quite high, which is something that I look for in a class, especially when it comes to PvP, because I don't want all of my damage to be only lotted into a specific window. So being able to proc your recklessness like this really opens up the table, and being able to proc these siege breakers opens the table for swaps, and really can give you some nice little power plays to be able to take down people. And you can already see maybe my damage is actually higher running this talent, having the proc execute, rather than just only having the enrage effect that I wasn't even using too much. Probably going to focus on using bloodthirst more so for healing rather than damage with this build specifically, just because I can extend my enrage with those PvP talents in PvP situations. If you're in PvE, that would change a bit, but the main thing that was the attraction to this spec was that you just have so much sustained damage. I love the little proc lotteries. It reminds me of kind of like procking lava burst. Like, oh my god, I got a lava burst proc right here. I got a wreck and I got a siege breaker on this target, so I can go really crazy at this target. We got another wreck, we got another siege breaker proc, and we just keep laying into the target with massive procs, massive uptime, focusing on the fantasy of Fury Warrior, really making you feel like a meat blender. I really feel like they hit the nail on the head with this spec in patch 9.2. Unfortunately, though, like with the realistic assessment, its defense is still quite lacking. I have died through enraged regeneration. It's definitely in a better spot than it has been in the past. I don't even think I was running the right conduits for that. My damage was actually that high. So yeah, having Rampage be able to refund a charge of Raging Blow to keep maintaining the enraged stacks in PvP, to keep having chances to proc your recklessness, like there's so much in here. And also that maybe we do need to put these conduits in. Wait, does this affect the set bonus? Increasing the duration of recklessness by 33%. If this increases the duration of it on the proc, then we've got some really crazy synergies potentially going on here for the Fury Warrior that I definitely need to check out right now. I thought that it copied my conduits over, but obviously kept my arms conduits when I transferred it. I've been playing Fury Warrior on the live realms for a little bit, and I've been enjoying my time on it, although defensively seems to be the main thing holding it back. We got to see, does this increase the duration of my proc recklessness? So we're just going to spam Raging Blow out a little bit, try and see if we can proc a recklessness here to see if it will increase it or not. Trying to increase the chance there. Okay, so it looks like it does. I think it does. Okay, so what? There's no way. For 4 seconds? Wait a minute, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. That would be too good to be true, right? It would be honestly too good to be true. I need to be staring at this just to see what the timer says, if it hits 4 seconds or not. Because if this thing hits 4 seconds, then... okay, it doesn't. Feels bad, man. That would have been absolutely bonkers if it did. I would have loved to play Fury Warrior if that was the case. If those things synergized together, you would just be unstoppable. You just have wreck up pretty much the whole game, I would think, at that point. But having these other conduits in, obviously going to help increase my damage by quite a large margin. And this is kind of just my little kind of glance at Fury Warrior, what's catching my eye with it. This is the patch, I think, where it's got the best shot that we've seen for Shadowlands. So if you've been considering it, I think that this is now the time to pick up the Fury Warrior. And if you want to watch me live, I'm streaming on twitch.tv every day. Likely going to be playing a little bit more Fury Warrior as well there, having prepared it a bit more. And also, if you want to stay up to date with news and changes to the game and guides to the game, then make sure you hit the subscribe button here. Absolutely free. Just lets you know when my videos go live. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this. Is it looking good? What spec are you going for in 9.2? Season's about to start here in just a couple of days, so you got to make that choice pretty soon. But other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will catch you in the next one.